It's Subverted Tropes, a podcast about movies, featuring your hosts Daniel Spencer and Kate Harlow. Welcome to another episode of Subverted Tropes. I'm Dan.
I'm Kate.
And we've got a guest with us today, Britt.
Hey, it's me. Hi.
Britt is a local comedian, and she's completely fabulous, and I didn't really think through more of an introduction than that.
Yeah, I would love to come up with a good, clever introduction, but I'd rather you introduce yourself.
I was born a poor black child. No, my name is Britt. I am a local stand-up comedian. I perform with Eyes Up Here Comedy Productions. I'm a producer. We do shows. I host Lady Bits. It's a female and female identifying only open mic in Durham at the Pinhook. Well, this is going out to the whole world, but if you local, though, it's at the Pinhook 5:30, second Saturdays, and that's pretty much what I do right now.
Fantastic. Of course, for February, we are honoring Black History Month by having guests on our show to talk about movies that are important to them. So, Britt, why don't you tell us what you picked and kind of talk to us a little bit about why it's important to you?
So, I want to preface this with any black person out there that feels offended because I didn't pick Amistad or Roots or the Roots reboot. I thought about this. I know what you're thinking. But the pick that I have is What's Love Got to Do with It? Because it's a movie in my house growing up that was one of those movies that was always on. If a VH1 marathon had because VH1 has those black movie blocks growing up, so it would come on after the 5 Heartbeats, right before The Color Purple. It just was one of those movies that I just know because I've seen it so much. The acting is superb. It's part of the lexicon of pop culture now. Beyonce references in the songs. I know it, although I haven't seen it in years. I just know it and I like it because Angela Bassett just shines, and it's a really good movie. I like it.
All right, that's fair. I am a little bit ashamed to say I have not ever seen this movie.
So I feel like I've probably seen bits and pieces of it because as a child, I pretty much watched nothing but Comedy Central and VH1. So I know one of those days where they had just a block of movies, I'm sure it was on in my house. But it's been that long. It's been a real long time. So I'm real excited.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Well, shall we jump into some production notes?
Sure.
Let's do it.
All right. So, What's Love Got to Do with It does tell the story of Tina Turner. And her rise to stardom, as well as her struggle to break free from the abusive relationship with the man who is partially responsible for her rise to stardom. I couldn't find a whole lot of information about how Touchstone Pictures decided to make this movie. I know that the screenplay was adopted. The screenplay was in an orphanage. And
Aww.
Kate Lanier went by and just was so moved. No, adapted. The screenplay was adapted by Kate Lanier from Tina Turner's I, Tina autobiography. Mm-hmm. Kind of an autobiography. She wrote part of it, and Kurt Loder wrote part of it as well, but worked with her to do it.
Kurt Loder, the old MTV VJ before they were called VJs? I'm going to say yes. I'm pretty sure that's right.
I mean, let me look it up. Because MTV
is
not my jam.
Kurt Loder always
He was a a music reporter.
Totally that Kurt Loder.
He was that old Credible guy. He was like the Dan Rather of MTV.
But he always seemed like he was just over this network whenever he gave a story. He would just when he I remember watching clips on VH1 recap 100 worst moments of rock and roll history, or most important moments of when he told the world that Kurt Cobain died. He was reading that paper I got to be the one to tell people this shit.
Everyone's gonna associate me with this bad news.
I quit. I quit. This is my resignation. I wrote it on the backside of the same paper.
Amazing. So that Kurt Loder helped Tina Turner write her autobiography.
Well, good on him.
Good on him.
Obviously working to his personal comforts.
Mm-hmm. Right. So the studio hired Brian Gibson to direct. He had directed nothing. There's something some sequel
Mighty Ducks 2.
Let's go with that, even though I think Mighty Ducks 2 was released significantly later than this movie, but sure. Anyway, he had some, like, 1 or 2 decent credits to his name, but they picked him to direct the movie.
All right, well, good for him.
So then they started to cast the movie. So for the role of Tina Turner, several actresses were considered. Halle Berry, Robin Givens, Pam Grier, Whitney Houston, Janet Jackson, and Vanessa L. Williams were all considered.
Wow.
Whitney Houston was actually offered the role, but she turned it down because she was pregnant.
That's fair.
And figured that might cut into being able to make a movie. Which I think is fair.
I mean, I think it depends very much on the movie, but anything that's going to be about Tina Turner's life is going to have a lot of dancing in it. So.
That is correct.
Also, I would imagine Whitney Houston pregnant. She's like, I'm pregnant. That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That, like, I am pregnant, so get over it. I can sing because I can sit while I do that, but, like, I'm pregnant, y'all.
Yeah.
These are my goals. These are my future goals.
Okay. I will be prepared for that.
Can I sit while I do it? Yes, then I'll still do it.
Great. So Jennifer Lewis also auditioned for the role of Tina Turner, but she was instead cast to play Tina Turner's mother.
Jennifer Lewis also has a book called The Mother of Black Hollywood.
Oh.
It is her autobiography, and I cannot wait to read it.
Oh, man. That sounds great.
I listened to an NPR podcast of her, like, just talking about the book. And if you ever listen to Jennifer Lewis speak, her, like, interview, just normal speaking voice is just so big and so dramatic that you just want to listen to it all. I can't wait. I want to listen to her audiobook because I bet it's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds...
I'm all about audiobooks recently. Yes. Like, I used to love to read, but now I love audiobooks because it just brings that much more into the medium for me. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, I would imagine her audiobook of her autobiography would be amazing.
But she said they made her tone it down.
Oh.
No.
She's always like, I'm Jennifer Lewis. And she couldn't do that. She just had to read it.
That is wonderful.
So, I don't know, like, my brain is telling, like, how... So, wait, Jennifer Lewis was considered or auditioned
She auditioned for
part of Tina
Turner.
and then she was cast as her mother?
She was cast as her mother. Go ahead, ask the question.
How old... What's the age difference?
1.5 years.
Oh, Hollywood, no.
Yeah, that's like the same.
No, why? No.
That's
typical.
Yeah. But, I mean, she does great from what I've heard.
I'm sure she does, but
and
that's
I think that she only plays that role in the young Tina Turner in the Anime Bullock years.
Okay.
But I don't know for sure.
But still, that's just something that Hollywood is tremendously guilty of, casting women as wildly inappropriate ages and then just kind of expecting everybody to roll with it.
Yeah.
And I kind of hate it.
Wasn't there a movie that had Justin Timberlake in it where the whole thing is that people didn't age? So his mom was someone that was like smoking hot and young, but she was like a mom's age. What
yes, so I don't remember the name of it, but like they had, if I remember correctly, like an amount of time on their wrists, and like that was used as currency, and it was like their years left to live, and you could like get, and it was like, I heard really, really weird.
I mean, I'm into it.
Right? It's a very interesting concept.
But it's like one thing if it's written into the script. It's another thing if it's like, what was it? Like Alexander or Troy or one of those like white as fuck adaptations of a Greek classic where it was like Angelina Jolie was supposed to be Colin Farrell's mother, and like they're either the same age or she's younger than him or some bullshit like that.
Yeah,
and
that
just,
sounds pretty dumb.
Okay.
Anyway, so with production set to begin in November of 1992, they cast Angela Bassett in the role in October.
Whoa.
So she only had a month to prepare for the role, which is pretty difficult when you are trying to
be an actual person that
actual
exists
person
already.
Whose personality is huge, and like if you're gonna act as that person, you gotta emulate them spot on.
Yeah.
So she was a little stressed. She had to learn to get down the walk, and the talk, and the dance moves.
Hot diggity.
So she actually got to work directly with Tina Turner on several of those things.
Oh, wow.
She was basically Turner was coaching her. throughout.
See, but that makes
all
it
of
even
that.
more stressful because then if
Right.
she doesn't do right, she can't be like, well, nobody taught me.
So when Tina Turner first met Angela Bassett with the "here's who's going to be playing you," she walked in and just like looked Angela Bassett up and down and said, "Oh, well, she's perfect."
Aww.
And they had a good relationship from then on.
Well, good.
Now
Did Ike hang out with Lawrence?
we'll get to that. So
I feel like that means no.
she didn't have time to learn to sing like Tina Turner, so they wound up having her lip sync the songs. Let's talk about the casting of Ike Turner. The casting director, Reuben Cannon, knew from the get-go he wanted Lawrence Fishburne in that role. So he went up and said, "Hey, Lawrence, here's the script. What do you think?" And Lawrence read it over and was like, "Nope, I am not going to be in this movie. The part is too one-sided. I don't mind playing the obvious villain of the piece, but like it's very clearly like slanted, like
Almost like it was written
by the
adopted by
victim.
her, by adapted from the biography of the victim.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
A couple of things that he said I wasn't a huge fan of, like there's got to be a good side, otherwise why would he stay with her, or why would she stay with him? Which,
No, you're
yeah,
wrong. No.
Not, but he didn't really like. There wasn't like an explanation as to why he was such an ass.
But that's not his story. Like,
it's
it's
not
not
his story.
Ike's story. It's
Yeah.
Tina's story.
So they wrote
And
a little
also,
bit.
there might not be an answer. Some people
might
are
not be
just
an answer.
fucked.
So they did change the script around to include a little bit more of Ike's backstory,
That was very generous of them.
and showed it to Fishburne again. And this time, he said, "No, I'm not going to be in this movie." So they opened up the part to auditions, and after having been in a handful of small roles, like one of his biggest up to that point being Harlem Nights, Charlie Murphy, who had been going by Charles Q. Murphy, Charlie Murphy auditioned for the role. He was like, "I am going to be Ike Turner.
Oh.
This is my role. I was born for this."
Oh no.
And he actually did a good job, but Reuben
But
Cannon,
he didn't get that. He didn't get it.
Reuben Cannon was just so focused on getting Lawrence Fishburne. He's like, "This guy said no to me twice, but I'm going to say no to you, Charles Q. Murphy, so that I can keep pursuing Lawrence Fishburne."
Oh my god.
So he went to the third time, telling him, "Okay, so we just turned down Charlie Murphy for this role because we want you in it." And Fishburne was like, "No." It wasn't until the fifth time that
my
he was
goodness.
approached, after they'd cast Angela Bassett. And they said, "You'll get to work with Angela Bassett again," because they worked together in Boys in the Hood. That's when he was finally like, "Okay, I'll do it."
Oh wow.
Huh.
So it was basically just for Bassett. He was not able to interact with Ike because, shock and surprise, he wasn't welcome on the set.
No, he wasn't.
No.
Okay. That's fair.
He did get to meet him once when they were filming at the house. Ike showed up, signed some autographs, and showed Lawrence Fishburne how to walk like him.
Oh my god.
And peaced out.
Oh, that's
And
great.
that was pretty much all that the Fishburne got to interact with Ike.
Okay.
Did Ike make money off this movie?
So not really. He sold his rights, like the life rights, both he and Tina did, to Touchstone or Disney, technically. This is a Disney movie.
Is
So
Tina Turner a Disney princess?
Yes.
I'm going to need you to lean closer into the mic and say that again, but with all the power and emphasis that question deserves.
Is Tina Turner a Disney princess? Could you put some reverb behind that?
I will definitely put some reverb behind that. Tina Turner is a Disney princess.
What's love? Okay.
Yeah, that's about all that we can get without being sued. So
It was beautiful, though.
it was. So speaking of singing, Angela Bassett lip synced her part. So they had Tina Turner re-record the bits of the songs just for this movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, okay, well, what we have isn't gonna be good enough. So we need you to record these again the exact same way. Don't change a thing about it. Just do it again. The only reason that I can think that they did that was because Lawrence Fishburne actually sang his parts.
Oh.
So that's actually Lawrence Fishburne's voice
Okay.
that we're going to hear.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
yeah. So that's most of that's all my notes for the first part. Do we want to go watch this movie?
Let's go do it.
Let's go watch this movie. And we're back.
Hey.
That is a delightful movie.
It's real good.
And by delightful, I mean it is entertaining. There are some extremely difficult to watch parts.
Yes.
They edited that out at VH1. They did not show all of that.
There was a lot that I did like that the scene in the sound booth when he like raped her. I did not. That was not in the TV edited version that I saw growing up.
It was not.
It won't.
Yeah, no, that was very, very intense.
Yeah.
And the first scene of like the real severe abuse and very, very difficult to watch.
But it should be difficult to watch.
It should be.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, that means that they did a good job telling that part of the story.
Agreed. So there's a lot of stuff in this movie that is real. So the house that we see them living in was actually the house owned by Ike and Tina.
Oh, so that's where I showed up and signed some autographs.
That is where he showed up, signed some autographs, showed Lawrence Fishburne how to walk like him. And
Okay, nice.
Yep. The red dress that she wears in the Disco Inferno scene was actually the dress that Tina Turner wore.
That's gorgeous.
Which is pretty great. The hotel where she runs out on him was actually the hotel where Tina Turner ran out on him.
Oh, wow.
They did some real stuff for this movie, which was great. Also real, Angela Bassett's screams of pain during that first spousal abuse scene when she falls off the couch. She fractured her hand
Oh my God.
on that fall. And so they used the take.
What?
Yeah.
Like when he dragged her into the bedroom?
So when she fell off the couch, and like they keep filming all of that, she'd broken her hand. It was a hairline fracture in her hand, but it was still a fracture.
No.
And so that was a lot of the real stuff. Let's talk about the not as real stuff.
There's some not real stuff. Some hyperbolic.
So Ike particularly states that a lot of this movie is exaggerated or completely fabricated, particularly all of the things that paint him in a bad light.
I'm sure.
He wrote an autobiography himself called "Taking Back My Name."
Blech.
Buh is right, where he was like, "No, this is all a bunch of crap." I don't believe that.
Did you find it on the same shelf as O.J. Simpson's If I Did It?
Probably, yes. So yeah, that there are, from the book I, Tina, there's a lot more detailed accounts of abuse that happened that weren't in the movie. But surprisingly, Tina Turner actually said that she did wish that there was more truth in this movie than there was, but that the studio didn't feel that the public would have believed what actually happened to her. My guess is alien abductions. Oh my God. What do you guys think?
Phil Spector shows up with his parrot, and I don't know.
I mean, Phil Spector showing up is really never a safe. It's just not a good. If Phil Spector,
not a good scene.
Here's just a quick public service announcement to everybody listening. If Phil Spector shows up wherever you are,
Leave.
Get out.
I thought he died.
No, I think he's in jail.
I think he was exiled. Well, okay, now's the part of the podcast where we look up Phil Spector on Wikipedia and see what his
Can you have a segment called Dead or Not?
Yes. Do 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 dead or not. Phil Spector is still alive.
Where?
Well, I'm trying to see if it is mentioned, but let's see. Right now, it's just saying that he was convicted for second-degree murder for Lana Clarkson. Still a lot of talk about his records. Nobody cares. You fucking killed a person.
True.
So he is, I guess, looking at it, it looks like he is in a California healthcare facility.
Oh my God.
And has no ability to speak due to some laryngeal issues.
Okay. Can I hope that somebody kicked him the hell in the larynges?
I would just hope that
Neck.
maybe larynx, I believe, is
Okay, fair. Fair.
But I would hope maybe someone kicked him in the mouth repeatedly where he placed the gun. Anyway, moving on. Let's get back. This is a comedy podcast. Let's remember comedy. All right, we're going to need you as a recurring guest to just pop in no matter what we're talking about in the episode. Just whenever you feel is necessary. Just tee tee. Perfect. Yes.
Beautiful. It's just a reminder. Keeping it light.
That's right. The character of Jackie was not a real person. She was basically an amalgam of a bunch of different people that Tina knew throughout her life, kind of combined into one person, which made for easier storytelling. And I think that's
in the context of a movie or something like that. It makes sense that they would mash all those people into one Frankenstein-ly Buddhist monster.
Yes. And speaking of Buddhism,
Yeah.
so Vanessa Bell Calloway was the actress who played Jackie. She's very staunchly Christian.
Oh.
Refused to actually say the Buddhist chant. She mouthed it, and they had a voice double come in and say the actual words.
Are you serious?
Yep, because she was just not having speaking the words.
It's not like a magic spell. Like,
And you're acting. Jesus understands.
You'd think so, but I mean, you don't want like a Jesus wept again situation.
instead, the Dalai Lama wept
That's right.
for the voice
The
double.
Dalai Lama leapt. The Dalai Lama leapt.
Leaping llamas.
Oh, goodness. So, one of my favorite facts about this movie is kind of tied into Tina saying that she wished that there was more truth in the movie.
Okay.
I don't know how she would know that. She's never seen it.
What?
Tina Turner has never seen this movie,
Okay.
and she has no interest in doing so.
Why?
I don't know. Possibly because she doesn't want to relive the very painful
That's fair.
memories of her life.
That's
That makes
super
sense
fair.
to me. But
I just don't understand people who have like commentary and criticism about something that they've never.
right, that's the
Watch.
thing. Is like, how do you know the truth that's in there if you haven't seen it? I'm sure people have told her about it.
Yeah.
But like, still, it strikes me as quite comical.
Yeah. That's pretty great.
The film was very well received when it came out. It's got, I think, a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it's real high.
Did it win Oscars?
So it did not win Oscars. Fishburne and Bassett were nominated for Best Actor and Actress for Oscars. Angela Bassett. Jesus, I can't
God, there you go.
talk.
Get it together.
Angela Bassett.
That's my drag name.
Angela Bassett.
Angela Basket. That's my drag name. Oh my God. Angela Basket. Yes. What's in my basket? Biscuits.
Can I take the drag name of Lawrence Fishhook?
Yes.
Okay. All right, good. Kate?
Angela Basket.
Do you have a drag name?
Feel Spectre.
Okay. All right. Feel Spectre.
Can I take my previous drag name before Angela Basket?
Yes.
My previous drag name was Fiona Cheesecake. Like Fiona Apple, but I'm obese.
I like it.
I love that. That is fantastic.
Phil Speckshare.
Important question. Is Fiona Cheesecake a Disney princess?
Yes.
Good.
Phil Titch Scare.
There we go. Phil Tit Scare. That's the best drag name. I love it. So Angela Bassett actually won a Golden Globe for her performance. So
good.
That was good because she
was
deserved
excellent.
it. She was fantastic.
I like the fact that she could convey that when Tina the moment she got on stage the first time, she lit up and just became Tina Turner, even when she was still playing Anna Mae Bullock.
Yes. Just big old grin and like really captured Tina's flair for performance.
Yeah,
And I think that was great.
she was fantastic.
Yes. And I mean, I think everyone did a great job. Like, I love Lawrence Fishburne. I hated him in this movie. He did such a
Yes.
good job of being a hated person.
Yeah.
He played the villain real well. And like, so I think it's partially in that he started out being so charming and then
Yeah.
turned into such a shitbag.
Yeah.
And he bought her mama.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bought her mama. That's crazy. Also, Angela Bassett's acting, she did a great job at making us believe that she would get beat by something. Like, she has these arms, these muscular arms, but we were like, yeah, no, she's not gonna fight back. And but no, she totally could whoop his ass.
Yes.
Those arms.
Those arms.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, she's ripped.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the tropes in this movie. And I think we discussed in our episode on Loving that it's difficult to get into tropes for biopics like this.
Yeah.
But I think also with the knowledge that they maybe took some
Liberties. Yeah.
I'm not too concerned about that. But I think one particular trope that I noticed in terms of just movie making when it comes to musicians, the scene where Lawrence Fishburne was at the piano playing, he was actually playing that piano. But every scene where he's with a guitar, he's got the same fingering. He's not moving it at all. He's not actually playing it, and it drives me a little bit up a wall. Like, you're supposed to be a musician. At least fake it a little bit better. It's not that difficult to learn chord fingerings and just move them up and down. It's that. Just move it. This just saying it's that and then doing the fingering does not.
It's really good. Really good
It's
audio.
real good podcasting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the passage of time through the change of fashion and hairstyles, which really you see the most in Lawrence Fishburne as Ike.
Yeah.
That's marking time on a calendar every time you look at him.
Very true. Yeah, he was. Oh man, he had some amazing styles throughout the years. I believe we saw the world's greatest shorts combo.
They're beautiful. Oh my god. It's
really
pink and
enjoying that
stripey and
scene.
crazy, and then he steps out and the fucking shirt has matching shorts, and oh my god.
And it's incredible. I was enjoying that scene just because of that shorts combo, and then it took a very terrible turn,
real
and
bad
I
turn.
stopped enjoying it significantly.
That Robin Hood ass outfit.
Oh, Robin Hood.
with the perm.
Oh my god.
Holy shit.
One trope that I noticed was the looking in the mirror and having a moment, a woman looking in the mirror and having a moment of growth or introspection. She's looking at her, but she's also looking inside of her. That thing. That
Absolutely.
I think mirrors were used, I'd say, a good bit in this movie to that particular effect, especially kind of that last scene where he confronts her.
Yeah, and she never turns and looks at him. She only looks at him in the mirror.
And it's really fantastic. And especially her, there's so much power in her going, when she basically challenges him to shoot her and he doesn't. And she's just like, I knew you weren't going to, but just conveys that you're nothing. Just in the and just walks away. It's just such this. Oh, it's an incredible moment. It's so great. And I absolutely love that. And yeah, the mirrors were such a huge part of this movie, but particularly that scene was amazing. The trope of, well, I don't know if that's as much of a trope. It's more kind of a plot thing, but
I will say that I think this movie might have like created a trope, because the Ike and Tina dynamic between characters, like Empire, to me, if I don't know if you've seen it, but like I like Lucius and Cookie, they kind of have a dynamic where like Cookie is like the Tina Turner character if I like didn't beat her. You know, if she always had that thing at the end where she stands up to him and says what she needs to say.
Yeah.
Lucius's character heavily modeled after Ike. He doesn't beat anybody. He murders a lot of people. But like, you gotta watch
spoilers.
But like, Lucius just kills a bunch of people. But like, that's just the show. But like, heavily, I think, modeled after that. And even like the having a former name, and then coming to a different name, in How to Get Away with Murder.
Yep.
Annalise Keating. She was Anna
May Keating.
That has to have.
Oh yeah.
Because like Anna May was who she was at home. Annalise is her, lawyer with the fancy husband, and
Yeah, for sure.
How do you guys wrap up your podcast? Do you have like a rapid fire question thing?
Like, we don't, but we're about to. Get ready with some rapid fire questions. Okay, so are you prepared to answer some rapid fire questions for our new segment? Rapid fire questions.
I talked myself in. I
What's your favorite part of this movie? Because rapid fire, you got to move quicker than that.
I remember like when I watched this movie as a kid, and like the scene with the Nutbush City Limits, I would sing that all the time. Like just sing that part all over and over. That was my favorite part. So
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
If you could pick any one of Tina's iconic outfits, which would you pick?
Oh my God. I think it would have to be that yellow one with the tassels.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that outfit.
That's good.
Yes.
If you were to sing any of the songs, any of Tina Turner's songs in front of an audience of 5,000 people with no warm-up prepared, like beforehand, what song would it be?
What's Love Got to Do with It?
I'm going to need you to lean into the... There we go. That's good.
But a second emotion.
Beautiful. Amazing. What is the purpose of existence? Okay, I think that's about as good as place as any. So we would love to let you take a moment. I know you talked a little bit earlier at the top of the podcast, but if you want to tell people we have most of our listenership is in North Carolina. So if you wanted to take a moment and talk about any upcoming shows you have, just anything in general you'd like to plug, any websites, etc., go for it.
Can I plug my Facebook page? No.
You can.
No, it's not eventful. Basically, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I'm gonna take this moment to talk to the audience. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Chilling here with Dan and Kate. We had a lovely evening. We watched a movie. You can check them out on this podcast currently. Right now, you can check me out, Chapel Hill, Durham. I don't want to give too much of a closer location because you might triangulate my address, but I'm out here doing the thing, just we out here, I want to thank Dan and Kate for having me on this lovely podcast. Y'all, for real, I listened to a couple episodes, and y'all from the jump, like even with the Hocus Pocus episode, what's the first one?
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters was our
Hocus
first.
Pocus was 2.
Mm-hmm.
Well, y'all sound like you are people who listen to a lot of podcasts, so you know what to do. Y'all have like everything down, the back and forth, the production. You sound great. If you ever have wondered, I wonder how people are receiving this. Y'all sound like y'all know what you're doing.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you to say.
You're
thank you so
sweet.
much for agreeing to be on this podcast.
Thank you so much. We had such a good time.
Yeah, we
so
were
excited
talking
the
way home from the Know the Word show, and we were like, man, We need to get Britt on an episode because she's just so much fun and she's got so much character that just comes through immediately. And like everyone is going to want to be best friends with you because I know I do.
No.
But no, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
And please keep us up to date with any upcoming shows because I would love to watch those. So, as always, you can find us on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, YouTube, really anywhere that you find your podcasts. We're still working on getting on Spotify, but that's on Spotify
Out
for
of our
dragging their
hands.
feet. So. As always, you can also find us on Twitter at Subverted Tropes.
If you want to send us a private message, not send it to the whole internet, you can send it to subvertedtropecast@gmail.com. We literally just today started an Instagram.
That's right.
And that is Subverted Tropes on Instagram. We cross-post everything to Twitter. So if you can find the Twitter, you can find the Instagram.
Bingo, bango, bongo.
We try to put up our sources and just kind of fun facts and whatnot on our blog at subvertedtropecast.wordpress.com. And as always, a huge thank you to our logo designer, Gracie Boland. She's crazy talented. You can find her on Etsy at That Crazy Princess and on Instagram at A Fandom Doodler.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been just a ton of fun. And if you're in the area, we highly recommend tracking down Britt and finding not tracking down. Hold on a minute. I'm going to rephrase that.
Eyes Up Here Comedy, Lady Bits, the second Thursday of every month. Second Saturday of every month.
We highly recommend following Britt. Hold on. I can find good wording here.
Fanning.
There we go.
At
Fanning
Brit.
at Britt. No,
nope, that's not right.
Okay. We highly recommend
becoming
checking out
a
Britt.
fan.
Oh, we can't. Okay. Becoming a fan of Britt. There we go. No, so seriously, her stuff is absolutely enjoyable. So,
but linking to movie tropes,
Ooh.
you can physically follow me as long as you're cute, because cute stalkers in movies get away with it.
Okay, but here's the thing about that.
Submit your photos.
Yes. So send your photos to subvertedtropecast@gmail.com.
We're acting as screeners.
That's right. We are the vetting process for Brit followers. So send us your picture. Please, picture of your face.
No.
We don't want any below the belt pictures, please.
No. Unless it's cute shoes.
Unless it's cute shoes. And that is it. No incidental body parts.
Nothing.
Just the shoes.
Just shoes.
Send it to us, and then if you're determined to be cute, we will let you know how to follow Britt.
Don't call us, we'll call you.
Exactly. No, but thank you guys so much for tuning in, and have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. Tee-hee.